Thanks for joining me. This is Grace Belfons with Crafting Gracefully and our June 2021 paper pumpkin tutorial, Expressions in Color. I really like this box. It's very pretty. It'll definitely be one that gets added to my paper pumpkin stash. So we'll open it up, and this month's kit coordinates with the Designer Series paper, Expressions in Ink, Specialty Designer Series paper. And I want to say that this is actually on part of one of the current promotions going on, I believe. I'm going to double check here real quick to see. Just kidding, it is not, so I'm not even going to go there. But it is a beautiful set of paper that it coordinates with. The watercolors are just gorgeous. I'm going to have to get it. I know it is currently right now on back order though. I have ordered it, but it won't be here until probably the middle of August. Bummer, but it'll still be fun to play with when it does finally come in. So we'll set that off to the side. And then in our box, we always get the instructions. We'll set those off because you guys have me. And then the cards that we are going to make. The first one is thanks for everything. You are amazing. And congratulations. It is still wedding season, so if you have some weddings coming up, that would be a very beautiful one to give. And I would love to receive that one as well if I was a bride. So we'll set those off to the side. And then we have our stamp set. I'll try to get it so you can see it that way. It has sending hugs, congratulations, many thanks for everything, and you are amazing. It has a nice little ink spot. I haven't tried that one yet, but I think I will on some thank you cards that I need to make as well. Has a couple flowers, a little bud, and a bloom or something. I'm not quite sure what that is, but we will be using those. And we have all of the goodies that we'll need, and you got 2 ink spots this time, Evening Evergreen and Bumblebee. This is a in color from last year, so 2020 to 2022, and Evening Evergreen is a 2021 to 2023 in color. Very beautiful together. We'll be using both of those. And I'm just going to set my box aside because the rest is for the cards, which we will start stamping once we get things set up. So I'm going to stamp the sentiments first, in no particular order. The first one I pulled off is You Are Amazing, which will use all of the sentiments. Will use the Bumblebee color. And once I get my other tiny sheet, you did get 6 of each of these, so they gave you, Stampin' Up! Gave you extra for mistakes or just to use on extra cards if you have the additional supplies. I always highly suggest getting the note cards and envelopes because you can make so many pretty cards so quickly with those. Just the card bases and envelopes is what it comes with, but if you have the paper, then it's very easy to make extras. So You Are Amazing. We're just getting that all nice and inked. And we're going to get it right in the center. Hold it down so the ink can absorb. And we'll pull it back. There we go. You Are Amazing. And just gonna clear that off. And the next one we are grabbing is Congratulations. Setting that on there. Oop. And I have found though with the photopolymers, if you don't want it, if you have troubles with it getting it to not go on wobbly, if you just set it down and then place it, it's pretty straight, where when I lay it down, I tend to, like when I lay it down for the longer sentiments, it tends to kind of curve, like that's a little dramatic, but even the smallest little curve is never fun unless you want it to be that way. But if you want it to just lay straight, I always just flop it down on my work surface with the side that sticks, the flat side up, so it'll stick to your acrylic block, and then it should be pretty straight. We'll ink it up. And then we will stamp it down. It is always easier when I am filming these to stamp at an angle because I can't quite get my head over it, but at least if it's at an angle I can kind of get my head around the camera so you guys aren't looking at my roots. Or getting that up close and personal look of my hair color. The other day I pulled I swear it was black, a black strand of hair out of my blondness. It was kind of crazy, but I think it was just one of those natural highlights things, but anyway. And the last sentiment we are stamping is for everything, and since this one is little, I'm just gonna lay it down again and press it on. The first time when I was trying to lay it on to make my samples, it was not wanting to lay straight. And since it's very small, we're just going to love that there. This is one reason why I love photopolymer stamp sets, the clear ones, is you can get really thin ones like that for everything. There we go. All right, our sentiments are done, and then we are also switching ink colors. So the next thing we are going to stamp is this lovely flower cluster, but we are going to switch to Evening Evergreen. And we are going to take the background of one of the stamps. So another question I get too is, when do you decide how do you ink up your stamps? Typically I pick it up and ink it if it's not a sentiment, or if it's a small sentiment, then I feel comfortable. If it were to, as you ink, sometimes the stamps get stuck, and when you lift it up, the ink pad will come with it, and then it has a chance to getting all over your project. So when they're bigger, I just like to pick them up and just dab, dab, dab. But if there are sentiments, I'm pretty confident it's not going to stick. But I guess it really honestly doesn't matter which way you ink it up, as long as you're comfortable in however you want to do it. Typically I feel like that's what I do, is for sentiments I just let it go, and then for the bigger areas I dab it all around. So we're going to stamp this 3 different times, just kind of all over the place. Leaving a little bit more up on the upper left hand side, just because I really like the color swirls and the way this paper was made. And then this one we'll flip it around and go like that. If you are watching this later or live, any comment you make on the video will get your name into the drawing for these cards. I'm just going to give all 3 of them to one lucky person instead of doing 3 different ones. So I will draw a winner on Friday afternoon, and then I will get them out into the mail if I have your address. If not, I will give you a couple days to get me your address, and then if not, they're just gonna, if I don't hear back from you, they just go into my used pile. Sorry, something's stuck on me a little, one of the gems. Anyway, so the next one we're gonna use is the little flower, and we're just gonna stamp it about 5 times, I believe. Oop, there we go. 1, 2. Don't ask me 5, it just seems like a right number, so 5 it is. 4, 5. That's 4, not 5. And we'll put another one right over here, I think. Alright, that looks good to me. As well, if you haven't already, I do have a YouTube channel now where I store all of these videos as well. I send my monthly Paper Pumpkin customers a tutorial, a written one, and a copy of this video if they don't have Facebook. A few of my customers don't have Facebook, so they like to see the video because it's a little bit easier to follow along with sometimes when you have a video than just writing. So instead of linking the link to the video, it doesn't always work for them when it goes straight back to Facebook. So I started a Crafting Gracefully YouTube channel, but I need 100 subscribers there before I can have the YouTube/Crafting Gracefully. So if you haven't yet, would you please go on over there and like it? I do have a post somewhere in the last couple of days giving you my YouTube video or my YouTube link, and I will probably keep it up or keep asking, so don't be afraid. And I'll probably put the link up on my Facebook page too, because I think there's a place for that. So we're gonna start assembling the cards. The first one, since we already have it pretty much ready, we're going to glue the card base or the background down to the card base. Once my seal wants to work. Ooh, that got a little sticky. Anyway, so we're just putting a little bit there. You can use glue or the glue dots just for the sake of the video. I am just using my seal because it goes a little bit quicker. But when you're making cards at home, if you're leisurely doing it, you can use the glue dots, or glue always works as well. So we have that, and then we are actually going to use the little glue dots they provide this time, because when you want to adhere vellum to something, the adhesive always sticks through. So we're going to use the little glue dots, and I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to take and put it one at the bottom of the A, right next to the N, and the other side of the N, and then the K. And that should be all that you need to have it adhere and stick, and then you'll cover it up with your sentiment, so it all works. Man, this was not the day to cut my nails. They were getting a little long, and I broke one, so I always had to cut them. Can't just have a broken nail, because then they all get chewed off. So I have to cut them before I start chewing on my nails again. Alright. So once we have that, we're just going to place this towards the bottom of the card, about an inch up from the bottom, and then pretty much centered. And then we're going to take the For Everything that we stamped, and we're going to flip it over and put it on dimensionals. So Stampin' Up! Gave you the large dimensionals this time, which you're going to see it's kind of thick for that, so we are just going to take it and cut it in half. If you don't have extra mini dimensionals hanging around, this is the next option. It's kind of like my little tip. You don't have the minis, just cut a big one in half and it works just as good. That's honestly what I used to do for the longest time when Stampin' Up! Came out with the mini dimensionals. I was like, I'm not buying those. I can just cut up my regular ones. I don't need it. And then I accidentally ordered the mini ones, and I used them because I had them, so I was like, oh man, it's so much easier than cutting them up. So now I just get them both because it's easy. And we're almost done. We just need to put on our pretty sequins. We're gonna just kind of toss them around. I like to group them a little so they'll be two together, I think, or sort of together. Right over there, and right there, and one down the bottom, just to give her eyes a little sparkle. So there we go, first card is done. And our next card. Okay, so for this card, I will say this is my favorite favorite background of these papers. I just love the ink splatters for the pink and the purple. It's so pretty, just like the boxes. So we just creased it with the bone folder. And then what I am going to do is take this. So the instructions said to use 26 inches. Well, that was pretty tight for me to wrap it and do a bow. So what I did that made it easier is I'm just going to take a little piece of tape and we're going to tape it down and then wrap it twice and then do a bow and tape glue dot the bow down, because that just makes life a little bit easier. So we're just going to wrap it around and get it twice, and then we're going to trim it. Take a little piece of Scotch tape, and this will be covered up by our sentiment, so no one's going to know unless they tear apart the card. Alright, and then I'll tie the bow here. So I like to just tie a bow how I tie my shoes. I loop one side, pull it the other one around, and pull tight. And then we just mess with it a little until your bow is how you like it. And I think that's pretty good, so we will just trim that. And we'll just set this off to the side until we are fully done with the card, and then we can put it just exactly where we want it. Okay, so then we're going to take our vellum sheet and we're going to add some glue dots just on this bottom part of the flower, and that's all it really needs to be held in spot. You can either use the glue dots or the seal. I'm just going to use the glue dots because the last time I used the seal, I got it too far out of the lines and you can kind of see it, which you have to really be looking for it, but just part of me wasn't having it that day. So now I'm just using the little glue dots. It'll be fine though. Use what they gave you, right? Normally I never use any of these because they take too long, but this time you kind of need to. Just with the design of the cards. So then we'll just place that. Right there, looks good. Place it down. Alright, and then the sentiment is "You are amazing," and we're going to pop that up on dimensionals. And you probably, I mean, I've been going kind of crazy on the dimensionals because they don't really use a lot, and you still have all of that left. And I'm probably only going to be using like maybe two or three more, so go crazy, use them, or save them for a project later. Oopsies. Stickies. So we're just going to place that right there. And then I'm going to take a glue dot and place it right there, because that is exactly where I want my bow to go. And then we're just going to take the top off and smush our bow right on there. So there we go. And we will add our sequins. On this one we are placing just one over here, and then we'll put two up here. Or I don't know, we'll just see how it goes. I think I'll just put two up on top and one down here again. Looking pretty good. Sprinkle these how your heart desires. One on each side. That'll be fine. And gives them. There we go. And our second card is done. Alright, and our last card. So our last card has these fun guys. We'll kind of had to be careful taking them out. So I took them out before because it literally took me like 3 minutes, a minute a piece to get all of them out, just to be safe so I didn't tear them. We'll crease our seam with the bone folder so it lies flat for us. Here. And then for this one, we will place the leaves going like that, but I'll use my seal and I'll just put it right in the middle. And then you want your leaves, I put them going upwards. You can put them whichever way you like, but I think they just feel right going up. Alright, so we have that part down, and then when we lay this, so you'll want your pink leaf pattern to, the part that kind of curves down will be towards the bottom right of the card, and then I put the pink as close to the center, like up and down as I could. And then we will use the back. Put some glue dots. I just put 2 of them on here. You can, if you feel more comfortable using them on the leaves, that's perfectly fine. There's no rule written in stone on how many glue dots you need to use. Just make sure you have enough for all the cards. And then, so that's towards the middle, and then just looping down. And then we put the green one on next, and the way that I did it was the more fuller leaves to the top and the little leaves to the bottom, so it'll kind of remind you of like a quick Y, the letter Y, and you can move it over a little bit to get it centered. So that's where I will place it, but I'll flip it over and put the glue dots on again. And if you don't really like using the glue dots, use glue, favorite adhesive of your choice, whatever you have. But if you have just the kit contents, it's just going to be using the glue dots, where the take your pick tool comes in handy. I don't know how I waited so long to get these. When they first came out a couple years ago, I was like, I don't really need it. I used little tweezers, but then I got one. I think I ordered it on accident. I was trying to order something else and I ordered that, and after I used it, I was like, why did I wait so long to get one of these? They are amazing. They seriously help things go by so much more quicker in card making. So it has a putty tip you just kind of push it around until, I just use the same tip until it gets really dry and doesn't want to stick again, but you just kind of reform it, and I'll actually use it this time for the other side, but it has the putty tip and then it has a pointer end or a flat spatula side. The spatula side I use a lot if I've glued something down and it doesn't look straight, then I'll use that to pick it up, or separating sequins, or getting a cling stamp up from the case. I will use that side to get that up and out. And then this one, I just literally messed around with it till I liked how it looked for the purple. And there will be, it might look like a little bit of a gap, but you'll cover it up with a sentiment too. So I think, yeah, like that. So my sentiment will just go across this way when we're ready to put it on. And then this time I just use one little glue dot and it will stick, because the sentiment will go over it and help keep things in place as well. So we have that, and now I just gotta figure out how we had it again, right? There, that looks pretty good. So I'll push it down. There we go. And then we'll need about 10 inches or so twine. I'm just guesstimating because I don't have my measurer down here, but that looks about like 10 inches. And we always get a little extra, thank you, Stampin' Up. So this, I'm just gonna weave it back and forth. So the lengths are pretty even with each other. It's gonna be difficult for me to do this time now, I guess, since I'm on camera. So now that I have it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some Scotch tape, and this is the thicker stuff. They do sell half-inch stuff. I just have yet to order it since I still have a bunch of this. And I'm just going to tape it to the back of my sentiment. Go. So it is there, and then you can kind of see that piece of tape, so I'm just going to carefully cut it. So there we go, that part is done. And we'll use 2 dimensionals, one on each side, to secure the sentiment down. And then we're going to place it right over where we had that gap, and now it is more filling. So there we go, we're almost done. I think this is actually just a little bit crooked. We'll gently peel it up. Okay, looks better. Want it to be kind of good since someone else is going to be getting these cards. And we are going to put 5 of these on there again, so we'll just sprinkle them around. I think this time I'll do kind of diagonally this way. Group them in 2 and then 1, or you can do 3 and 2, however you see fit. That one had 2 layers on it. Okay. That just means I get an extra sparkly. Alright, there we go. And our 3rd card is done. So, we'll set out the cards that we did today. 3 cards in less than a half an hour is not bad at all. Alright, thank you for joining me today in the June 2021 Expressions in Color Paper Pumpkin tutorial. Again, if you like these cards or have any questions, leave a comment. I am going to give these cards away to somebody who comments, likes, or shares the video. If you share the video, please come back and say that you've shared it. If you are watching this on my YouTube, it will be too late for that. Just my Facebook page is for the drawings. So anyway, hope you enjoyed today and these beautiful cards, and we will see you next month. Happy crafting, everyone.